Calaroga Shark Media.
Hi, Leo. I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. The Oscars still kind of dominating. Jimmy Kimmel brought snacks, says The Hollywood Reporter. He brought snack boxes that include Shappy pretzel and mustard, Mike and Ike's, water, and a note from Kimmel that said, to keep the karma flowing, they'd be providing a donation to St. Joseph's Center. This is the second time that Kimmel has brought that brand of pretzels. He's apparently a big fan. Daniel Feinberg, my favorite entertainment critic in The Hollywood Reporter, wrote, Kimmel is a guy you can trust to do a monologue, and then he'll hold together the disparate components and fill dead air and generally keep the mood light. He's a juggler, and no matter what Razzie winner Trump might say, a good award show host. I agree. Again, I didn't think Jimmy had his best fastball on Sunday night, but I do think he's a good host. Feinberg seems to agree and wrote, that doesn't mean that Jimmy was always in top form. If I had to title the opening monologue, it would be Embracing the Hackiness. You had jokes about De Niro's age and the length of Killers of the Flower Moon. Sorry, Jimmy, but if it was bad enough for Joe Coy, you probably needed to go a different way. Again, I think Jimmy's monologue was the redemption tour for Joe Coy. Suddenly, this isn't so easy, everybody. I wish Taylor Swift had been there to ice Jimmy Kimmel. Imagine if he said something mean like this.
The big difference between the Golden Globes and the NFL, on the Golden Globes, we have fewer camera shots of Taylor Swift.
Whew, Taylor would have murdered Jimmy Kimmel. Feinberg wrote, there was a riff on Robert Downey Jr.'s troubled past that seemed to go on forever, as if Kimmel were trying to say, look, after tonight, he's going to be Oscar winner Robert Downey Jr., so we need to get this out of our system, except most people already had. Sometimes Kimmel had a sharper blade, like when he referred to the summer of solidarity among the industry unions before adding, well, not the directors, you guys folded immediately. That was a solid joke. If you didn't watch, Al Pacino presented the Best Picture and apparently doesn't know how to do it, has never seen an Oscar show. Pacino failed to read the nominees out loud. Pacino just opened the envelope and told the audience, quote, and my eyes see Oppenheimer. Backstage, Kelly Ripa and Marc Consuelos were doing their thing, and Ripa said, how about Al Pacino cutting like 12 minutes, 20 minutes, 25 minutes? Consuelo said, we were back here going like, no. Kimmel joked, I guess Al's never watched an award show before. It seems like everyone in America knows the rhythm of how it's supposed to go down to the Oscar goes to, but no. And that came after Kimmel had already killed time. I played that clip yesterday where Kimmel got in a gut punch to Trump. Kimmel told the story saying, they go, you got a little bit of time. And I go, I'm reading that Trump tweet. And they were like, no, don't read that. I'm like, yes, I am. Apparently Emma Stone didn't appreciate Kimmel's joke that Poor Things is only about sex. She was mouthing, naughty word that starts with PR and rhymes with lick. You didn't really clean that up, John. I know. Thank you, Heather, for sending that over. Good joke by tweeter Rob Dan Bleicher, who wrote, is Oppenheimer / Godzilla -1 the first time a movie and its sequel both won Oscars in the same year? Good observation there. In other news, Spinal Tap coming back. This is Sequel Tap. That's a bad name. Is now in production. They're filming in New Orleans. Rob Reiner directs. Christopher Guest, Michael McKean, and Harry Shearer all back. Reiner will also return as the documentarian Marty DeBurgi. Questlove and Trisha Yearwood have now joined the cast, already announced Elton John, Paul McCartney, and Garth Brooks. In a statement, Reiner said, I recently spoke to Marty DeBurgi, who said he was more than happy to take a sabbatical from his position as a visiting professor's assistant at the Ed Wood School of Cinematic Arts to once again document Spinal Tap to ensure their place in the pantheon of rock and roll. The plot sees our favorite band reuniting following a 15-year hiatus for one final concert. I hope this is good. My spidey sense is saying that this is going to be a mess, but I really, really hope I'm wrong. Christina P shared a video on social media telling us Where My Mom's At. Her podcast will be going on a short hiatus so the main mommy can focus on being a mommy. But we've got lots of exciting new content to share with you here at Studio Jeans. There'll be a few WMMA episodes released, so keep an eye out. That to me sounds like, candidly and speculating, this podcast isn't making money. It's not worth my time. So I went to look at the charts. There's a website called Chartable, and that podcast, Where My Mom's At, right now out of the comedy charts. So I suspect, and I might get in a lot of trouble for this, it might come out tomorrow that Christina is taking care of a personal issue, or who knows, maybe she's getting a Brazilian butt lift like Kate Middleton. I don't know why she stopped doing the podcast, but I speculate this is, why are we doing this? We're not really making money on this. Just a guess. By the way, the Kate Middleton stuff is amazing. Listen to the bonus episode of Palace Intrigue we dropped on Monday. That'll catch you up on, if you missed it, they put out a photo over the weekend of Kate And then people realized it was Photoshop. So now the whole where is Kate Middleton conspiracy is full blown. Lots of fun Palace Intrigue wherever you get shows. Rami Youssef is everywhere suddenly. He's got that special coming out on HBO Max, HBO Max. He will host Saturday Night Live March 30th with musical guest Travis Scott. Nice lineup there. But he's really, sometimes these comedians go into overdrive and start saying some stuff. I've got a story for later in the week where he's name dropping Taylor Swift. I'm like, I get what you're doing, Rami. So expect me to have lots of feisty Rami quotes in the upcoming weeks. The 800-pound gorilla has announced the first annual Worldwide Comedy Month. All right, what's this? It's a month of daily curated comedy releases, events, and fan engagement opportunities at a time when we need a chance to laugh together. The 800-pound Gorilla Media Co. has announced that April 2024 will be the first annual Worldwide Comedy Month. New releases from Kyle Kinane, Angela Johnson-Reyes, Mo Welch, Modi, Evo Graham, and Monty Franklin, and more. Some of the things coming out. April 2nd, Kyle Kinane, Dirt Nap. 4/4, Angela Johnson-Reyes' Say I Won't. Evo Graham on the 5th, live from Bloomsbury Theater. Monty Franklin on the 9th. Dan Rath, I'm Not Doing Well, Folks, on the 12th. Mark Forward Presents on the 16th. Modi on the 18th. Mike Britt on the 21st. Mo Welch, Dad Jokes on the 23rd. Nick Offerman's American Ham on the 26th. And Tom Allen's Absolutely Live on the 30th. That is awesome. Donnell Rawlings told the Daily Beast how he found out that Dave Chappelle walked away from that Comedy Central $50 million deal. I found out like everybody else through the news. The behind-the-scenes stuff, Dave and Neil kept it away from us. Neil is Neil Brennan. We weren't focused on that. We were just so happy. Charlie Murphy went from being Eddie Murphy's brother to Charlie Murphy. I went from being Ashley Larry to I'm rich, biatch. We were going back into production for the show. Me and Charlie were a little upset because that meant we had to come off the road for 3 months and we weren't going to make that much money. I didn't really make too much money on the show, and I'm not saying that to bitch or anything. I never bitched about the money I was making on the show because I knew the money I was making on the show was nothing compared to the money I was going to make from doing the show. I would have done that show for free. A regret. When we did Chappelle's show, the lost episodes, we hadn't talked to Dave or anything, and Comedy Central had an archive of video they wanted to do something with. I didn't know Dave's frame of mind or anything. And when me and Charlie were looking at it, we were like, this might be our last opportunity to do this, not knowing the politics involved with it, not knowing Dave's feelings about it. We decided to do it as closure, not trying to get a career, not saying we were trying to be the new Chappelle show. It was almost like a funeral for that show. But as time passed, Dave told me he felt uncomfortable about that, so I do regret it. And I said, Dave, if you would have picked up the phone and let us know where you were, all you had to do is say is, I'm not effing with Comedy Central, so don't F with them. But he didn't say anything. It's the last night of comedy at South by Southwest at 5 o'clock local time. It's the Street Meet, a comedic celebration of food trucks, grease pits, and sandwich shops. Joe DeRosa joined by some others to talk hoagies to halal, burritos to burgers. Sounds like a fun show. Now I'm hungry. 6 o'clock, Girl Cop, a clown drama. Christina Catherine Martinez, she's been on a ton of shows this week, and Courtney Paruso set aside their lighthearted antics to plumb the existential apprehensions of the sapphic flatfoots in the search for meaning, no art, only justice. 7 o'clock, Famous with a Baby and Other Stuff That Didn't Work Out. Luisa Omilan brings her greatest hits to the U.S. When Life Gives You Lemons, become the Beyonce of your own damn story, and there's a dance party at the end. 8 o'clock, Gotham Comedy Club presents a stand-up comedy. This at Esther's Follies. Nathan McIntosh, Lynn Koplitz, Aaron Jackson, Jordan Fisher, Ashley Barnhill is your lineup. And the final one is called Closing at the Creek in the Cave. Once again, using the AI-generated image of what a comedy audience might look like. 9 o'clock, Chris Gethard, Pete Lee, Orlando Leyba, and Dulce Sloan. Bunch of stuff if you need something to do tonight. Dan St. Germain, good comic. His new special, Dance Fatty, is on the 800-pound Gorilla YouTube channel, 7 o'clock Central Time. Steve Trevino, A Simple Man, on Netflix. Patton Oswalt is on Stephen Colbert tonight. Do you want to see comedy in a storage bin? Sure, why not? Manhattan Mini Storage has partnered with Brand Up New York, related to the Stand Up New York Comedy Club, to bring stand-up comedians into facility units. The events are dubbed Mini Sets Comedy Club. It pairs different comics with rotating audiences of up to 15 people, depending on the unit size. For example, 5x5 units hold an audience of just 3 to 4 people. What are we doing? Jimmy Fallon showed up in Syracuse Friday night. He opened for Nate Bargatze. That's a good opener, Nate. How'd you get Jimmy Fallon? We were told Fallon wore sneakers with orange laces. Little Syracuse Orangeman thing there. Fallon joked about his family, his upbringing near upstate New York. He grew up in Ulster County. And his alma mater, the College of St. Rose, which has announced that it's closing. Nate said Fallon is only joining the tour in a handful of cities. Fallon chose Syracuse and Albany, New York. And that is your comedy news for today. If you enjoy what I do here, you can buymeacoffee.com/dailycomedynews. See you tomorrow.